I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but I was one of those kids that could get away with last minute studying and do great in their tests. Just had that luck, you know what I mean? Where last minute you just managed to pull it out of the bag and everyone wonders, how did you do it? The thing is, if we trace it back a little bit, when I was young, I was pretty well-rounded. As I got older, I realized that I could balance the art of staying up till stupid o'clock watching Netflix whilst also managing my intense schoolwork, which I wouldn't always complete, yet somehow that never seemed to be a problem. The reason I'm telling you this is because I sort of built up this relationship with my studies where I would just procrastinate until the last minute and trust that everything would just magically work out. And yes, lo and behold, it did for a very, very long time. However, when I hit the age of 17 and I had my A-level mocks, I did pretty much that, yet not to the same extreme because I knew that there would be more hard work involved. I spent 2 weeks working my butt off, making flashcards like never before, and lo and behold, I failed. I got DDU in my A-level subjects and I didn't know what to do with myself but take myself as a failure. And that is when my mess began. You see, to me, this failure wasn't just a failure. This failure was me. I was the failure. What was failing? I didn't know. Up until that point, I'd always managed to make everything work out. What was this? This was new to me. I didn't know how to deal with it, and so what did I do? I internalized it. And I made it a part of my identity. And I didn't know how to shake it, let it go, set it free, so that I could finally be happy with myself. Failure clung to me as I moved through life, or tried to. It weighed me down in everything that I went into, stopping me before I could even get started. Despite its familiarity, it could never become a friend, only a foe. That was until quite recently. But before we get into the juicy stuff, let's dig into the past just a little bit more. You see, the first vlog I ever made, if we really go back, was probably when I was 11 years old. Something called Photo Booth. I'm sure you guys remember. Yeah, there would be a lot of videos made on there with myself and my sibling. Unfortunately, we lost those videos a while ago, but that didn't stop me. For my parents' anniversaries, my sister and I decided to collaborate and come up with skits to keep ourselves entertained and our parents celebrated. You see, that creativity was always there, but I never thought to do anything with it. The last day of school came around, 2019. All of the kids were driving home to get ready for the May Ball and for the exams that were later to come, followed by a glorious long summer. That last day of school was the first time I ever recall picking up my phone to make a vlog. But see, at this time I didn't know what that was. All I knew was that I was taking a vertical video record of life that day. Something for myself, yet I kept referring to the camera as you guys. That was the beginning of something, and I didn't even know it. You see, for the rest of the summer, I carried on doing little things like this, or at the very least, posting a pic on my Snapchat story every single day as a visual record for what I did that beautiful, long, crazy summer. And boy, was it fun. The fall of 2019 came, and what did I do? I went to university, just like any other normal kid. Or normal brown kid. However, the issue of failure following me wherever I went didn't resolve on its own. It didn't dissolve, it didn't disappear, it stayed. And no matter what I did to avoid it, it wouldn't leave me alone. Just when I thought I had a grip on things, failure would come, plonk itself in my life again, reminding me that I didn't have control, that I really wasn't as smart as I was, that I was just inherently bad at everything I did. But you see, the filming never stopped. Christmas came and I had a work dinner. Of course, I filmed the Get Ready With Me for it, because naturally, that's what a YouTuber would do. Never mind the poor quality and the poor lighting or anything of that sort. I just had to film, say you guys, 1,000 times and show you every single detail of what I was doing to get ready for that night out. But I never edited anything. I never actually, I guess you could say, put pen to paper, made it a reality. Why? Well, because I actually discussed becoming a YouTuber with my parents at the time, and they weren't too keen on it. They didn't understand it. It was weird, it was foreign, it was not conventional. And so I shut it down because I thought that was the right thing to do. However, we can't give them all the credit here. I also wasn't a disciplined person whatsoever. at least not with anything outside of work. And that, combined with the fact that I honestly just didn't believe I was good enough, well, it was the perfect concoction for my storage filling up and my dreams remaining unfulfilled. Nothing changed for a very, very long time. I would film here and there, I would make a video whenever I'd chat with my friends. I'd say, yes, YouTube is something I want to do, YouTube is something I'm going to work on one day when I'm a YouTuber. But I never do anything to action it. I never do anything to actually make myself believe in myself. And this was a theme that ran all throughout my life. You see, when I was in university, I continued to struggle with consistency, self-trust, and therefore self-belief. And on top of that, I felt purposeless in my life. I was confused about what I wanted to do. I was so incredibly lonely, especially given the fact that I took 2 years out from university and just worked and didn't really have much contact with my friends or people in general. And in that time, I had poor mental health, and last year was the cherry on top, let's just say. So, after some time, and when things got so incredibly unbearable, and I felt like I had nothing to lose, I said, what the heck? Let's give it a go. So in the month of July, I decided to set myself a challenge where every alternate day I would upload, regardless of the quality of my video, regardless of if I thought it was perfect, regardless of how I felt, what else I had to do in my life, what else was going on, etc., etc., etc. I had committed to a month. Not for anybody else, but for me. I wanted to prove to myself that I could be consistent. So lo and behold, I got started. And boy, was it fun. It was messy, it was chaotic, I didn't know what I was doing half the time, even though it was just as simple as working out iMovie, for crying out loud. But I was doing it, and that was such a powerful feeling. Little did I know during that time that I would begin to discover the following lessons. Number 1, how to stop comparing myself. I'm going to bring up Jen Gottlieb's point here. Please correct me if I'm saying her second name wrong. I think she says something along the lines of not comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. You see, for so long I've been watching everybody else's chapter 20s unfold right in front of my eyes. Everybody that I wanted to be, everybody that inspired me, everybody that mirrored that voice that I had inside of me that said, you can do it too. But you see, I never put pen to paper. I never wrote my chapter 1. And in doing this, in setting out to make that month of consistency happen, I did what I wanted to do. I took the first step towards becoming the version of me that I always wanted to be. And so why would I compare? I was so preoccupied with writing that first chapter. Why would I pay attention to anybody else's chapter 20? It has nothing to do with me. Now, I'm not saying comparisonitis doesn't get me every now and then. Of course it does. But this level of focus, it acts as a form of recalibration for me. Whenever I lose sight of what I'm doing, who I am, where I'm going, who I want to be, I remind myself of this, that there is no point in comparing myself to somebody else, especially somebody who's been in the game longer than me. This was the beginning of me betting on myself. And not only that, but learning how to get comfortable with being a beginner. That lesson has stuck with me since. Since that time, I have had my life change dramatically. I have gotten 2 new jobs, which have required me to be a beginner yet again. I've been going to the gym and teaching myself more new things. I've been pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, aka being in the unfamiliar, being a beginner. Additionally, one of the reasons that I could never really get to it was because I was so afraid of not being good enough. I was so afraid of making mistakes and feeling like a failure all over again, but little did I know I was not the failure, I had just failed. Those are 2 very, very, very different things. You see, in order to succeed, you have to make failure your friend. But that takes facing your fears too. And so I did. I set out to make the messiest, most chaotic work ever. No editing, no scripting, nothing. Just me in front of the camera saying whatever came to mind and editing it and uploading it just like that. I did the unthinkable for my perfectionist brain, and I combated that fear, crushed it, and took my power back. I didn't want to feel stupid anymore. I didn't want to feel incompetent. But these things can only be combated with action. So you can dream all you like, but the inspiration that you get from dreaming versus the inspiration you get from action, I don't really think I even need to explain that to you. I started to aim for done as opposed to perfect. I learned to enjoy the journey. I learned how to have a more holistic mindset about things, not just YouTube, but myself and my life. And I realized that step by step, I could recover, not only from the broken relationship I had with failure and success, but the broken relationship that I had with myself, especially after the traumatic year that I had had. And of course, I taught myself a lot of patience during that process. The second lesson that I learned during this time was that I was building the foundation of myself. Again, this was somewhat unknowingly. I let myself play. Like I said, I just switch on the camera and talk because I'd have all of these thoughts that I just needed to get out, and I stopped putting a barrier on myself. I said, no more. I'm going to let myself express. And my niche will come to me when and how it wants to. I don't need to force it. And in all honesty, at that time, I wasn't thinking about a niche. I was so heartbroken in my life that the last thing I needed was a niche. All I needed was to express, and YouTube gave me a space to do that. Funnily enough, at this time, there was also another creator, a small creator like myself, called Kamillah Rae, who posted a YouTube video talking about how YouTube changed her life with less than 500 subscribers. It came up on my recommended and I watched it and it inspired me. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much to Kamillah for inspiring my video today. I know that actually there are many YouTubers who have also followed in her footsteps, making similar videos. And so guys, I would definitely recommend that you go and check them out too. They have some great points. And honestly, when it comes to encouraging you to pursue YouTube, I think they actually might have a lot better points than me. So I would highly encourage you to go and check them out. However, even though I might not be able to give amazing points like the rest of these people, I am able to speak about my experience, and I hope that today, in discussing this with you, that I can at least inspire you a little bit to bet on yourself, to see yourself enough, and to go for what you want. So going off of Kamillah's video, I actually had to think myself, and I was like, how has YouTube affected me 1 month into being consistent? And so in August 2023, I took the time to write out the 3 biggest lessons that I had learned so far, at least to my knowledge. Bear with me as I shamelessly read off my notes. How YouTube unexpectedly changed my life in 1 month. It made me more confident. I suddenly realized how many people I was talking to and became more aware of how I presented myself. Additionally, it made me want to believe in myself more. Having other people see in me what I see in me and not have it judged or critiqued or dismissed is really special. I have a space to be myself. It's making me want to be a better person, especially now that I have so many people watching me, and given the topics I cover in my content. I want to be as much of an example as I can be and bring you guys quality content. Still working on it. And that comes from, yes, lighting, audio, editing, scripting, presentation, but also who I am and who I'm becoming. You give me a reason to be better, especially on the days when I can't be better for myself. And last but not least, it helped me to show up in the state of the wish fulfilled with regards to my career. Authentic, myself, inspiring people. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of that. By the time I was done with my posting challenge, I realized that I didn't want this to stop. This was only the beginning. I had finally gotten the ball rolling, and I realized that it really wasn't as intimidating as I thought it would be. What's that quote? You don't have to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. I felt that and I knew it in that moment. And so I had some life things happen. I went abroad for a little bit. But boy, YouTube was a part of my life now. And there was no way in hell I was going to let it go. So come October/November, I decided to set myself another challenge. Something quite like how I'd done before. Posting every alternate day. And I went ahead and did that and proved to myself that yet again, I could do whatever I set my mind to. When November came around, I thought, what if I made a series? You know, it doesn't even have to be for anybody else, but just something where I film every day for 10 days to track my progress in my goals. Doesn't matter how pretty they are, it doesn't matter how perfect it is, just so I can show myself that I can do this. And so I did. I then went on to edit the series and I posted it in December, consecutively, for 10 days leading up to the new year. Pat on the back moment, if I do say so myself. By doing these mini challenges, I naturally ended up learning more. You see, when you're constantly exposed to yourself like that, you tend to pick up a thing or two. And these are some things that I jotted down in October, 3 months after deciding to be consistent on YouTube. YouTube at this point had also given me a sense of discipline/duty, not only because I was editing consistently, but also because I was striving towards becoming a person who was worthy of being followed. This journey was not only so I could witness my own progress, but also so I could inspire other people to do the same, to fight for themselves. It continued to increase my confidence in myself. I realized that I wasn't just talking to a camera anymore, but to actual people, especially with you guys commenting. I just want to say a quick thank you. You really made my day more times than I could count. Which is actually kind of scary, given the fact that I've struggled with being a very shy person and struggling with social anxiety my whole life. But I realized whether I am fake or my authentic self, I will never please everybody. So I might as well just stop apologizing for who I am and embrace it. Some days are easier than others, of course. I wrote that in October, and I will say those some days have definitely decreased. It gave me a personal brand and made me stand for something. I spent years lost, feeling directionless, like I didn't know who I was. But when I look back at my videos, I am reminded of who I actually am. I'm not perfect, but I do have a personality and I do have something to offer. Even if it doesn't cater to everybody, if I can help just one person, that's my job done. Now, another obvious thing that you might know and that other content creators might have also mentioned is the level of resilience and delayed gratification that you have to learn to embody and tolerate, respectively. So sometimes, especially when it was a little rough and the journey was incredibly lonely and maybe even boring, I would write to myself to encourage myself to keep going. That's another side effect of this journey. I've become my own biggest cheerleader. This is something that I wrote in February. I'm tired of constantly checking, hoping, waiting. This is me talking about subscribers. I'll keep working, doing what I have to do, but I can't be asked to chase a number or outcome. I'm not even trying to reverse manifest. It's just, I get it, but I need to Stanley cut myself, or Moseyfy my business/brand. Like, I know I'm good, I know I'm smart, I know I've got some nuggets there. I just need to strategize better to get people to see that. It's like, I've got muscle, I just need to shed the fat so people can see the work. So the way I'm approaching it is like this. I'm building a portfolio of credibility. In the meantime, I myself, as an individual, am streamlining and working on myself so I can bring actual value to people. So far, the majority of my content is rants and intuitive knowledge, a thought as I write. To improve upon something, you have to be willing to look at it for what it is, not just what you want it to be, and then bridge the gap in a way that is most authentic to you. So we'll keep going for the dream, but my mind's efforts will not be towards the pursuit of this goal, but rather towards the betterment of myself. Thus far, I have learned discipline, consistency, the power of words and responsibility, how to be a better speaker and teacher. When I do blow up, people can see my brand history, where I've been. There is power in what I'm doing now, because not only do I learn these skills, but I also show who I am, my progress, and that I am relatable. If I can improve and get better, so can other people. If you guys actually take a moment, and I just want to apologize for my computer fan if you can hear it. I've shut everything, so the fact that it's still being like this, I don't know. But if you guys check out my channel and you go a few months ago, maybe more specifically to December 2022, I'm sure you will be able to see that I have had some lows in my time. And these are just some of the lows that have been documented, which is like 0.0001%. That's on there, and part of me was concerned. Is this too much? Am I being too much? Is it too vulnerable? Is it too this? Is it too that? And you could say yes to all of that, quite honestly. Yeah. But so many people connected with that video. So many people have felt that level of pain. And for me, recovery is the best way I can put it. Getting from a place of feeling empty and purposeless in my life to now being where I am today, having lost, honestly, so much, being so much of a failure, I guess you could say. You guys don't even know all of the details, but literally being what could be described as a failure. Not that anyone has said this, but if you were to look at me on paper, I would still say I am thriving. And that is because of everything I have done between, I'm going to say, May to July time last year, where I started to bet on myself and make decisions that were in alignment with me being not even happy, but just able to tolerate being alive, let's just say. And this whole journey, I'll touch on this more later, it's been about getting myself back, reclaiming myself and my life. And I really hope that my content and my channel and myself can serve as an example for anybody who feels like they can't. So given all of that, let's discuss the slow growth in my 3D reality and how I'm feeling now. One thing that cannot be underestimated, and that you could even say is ironic for my character, at least for what my character has been for the majority of my life post-school and post-17 even, when I had that very dramatic failure, is that I've learned to fall in love with the journey. AKA, I've made failure my friend. Other YouTubers that actually made this video have discussed this too. It takes a special kind of resilience to keep making videos even when you don't get views and you know that you've poured your heart into it. But that's how you know that you're really in it for you as well. That you're really about it and you're really about the value you bring to other people. It's when you're unwilling to stop. I've fallen in love with the journey of YouTube, of providing value to people. Rather than thinking about a number, not that that goal doesn't exist, I prioritize the content that I'm actually creating now. What you perceive and what you make of that, of course, you are entitled to your opinion. But on my end, I know that I'm trying. On my end, I know that I'm the one losing sleep. On my end, I know that I'm the one reading, trying to make myself a better, more educated person. But before we get into more of that, I'm going to read out what I wrote. As a result of my faith being tested, I set out to learn more about the law of attraction and the law of assumption, which actually ended up helping me in other areas of my life and just generally manifesting becoming a better version of myself. It's made me more focused and determined. And you see, the thing is, when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's boring, when it's too difficult, when you feel like pulling out your hair because nobody's watching, it can become so tempting to give it up or to try growing on another platform instead, because maybe that would work better. Grass is greener situation. But I've realized that no, I could give it a go, but that's not what I came here for. I came here to be a YouTuber. I came here to make long form content that would help people, that would speak to people, that would connect with them, inspire them, motivate them to grow, to believe in themselves. I must persist. Whether it takes me another 5 years or 15, I must persist. Because when you know you have a vision for yourself, when you know you have something to offer, even if it's tiny, you just have an inkling of a feeling, you bet on that. You bet on that like it's nobody's business. And I would rather die trying than not try at all. I feel in purpose because the lack of 3D growth is a reminder of why I am doing what I am doing. I feel I am more intentional and more in touch with myself, as opposed to blowing up early, still being too fragile in my sense of self and what value I wish to bring to people. Now, I have a clear enough idea of my internet self that when I do get more of a following, I won't be swayed as easily by what people may want from me. I am in touch with my authenticity and what feels right to make. You see, when we're in it, we can't always see it. And I'm going to make a separate video about this. I like to call it, we're living in the dots. When you're in it, you wonder why. You wonder, am I alone in this? Or maybe you won't even wonder about that. You just feel alone in it. But everything at the right time. To not have faith is to block your own blessings. And I choose to have faith because faith feels good too. Why would I tell myself something that doesn't serve me? I choose to believe in the best about myself. I do so not only for myself, but also for you, to serve as an inspiration and to remind you to do the same for yourself. You see, in giving myself that time to create, to play, no, Siri, I'm not talking to you. I gave myself that moment, that time to express. And with time, as I've grown, as I have sort of gotten the content thing out, I have now had enough time to reflect on my content and sort of see the overarching themes of what it is that I have to say. And I'm not saying that this isn't going to evolve with me, because I'm a human being, people change. But I see myself. I see evidence of myself. I can see who is trying to break free of her limiting beliefs and doubts and fears. And I want to bet on her. So it's a blessing to not have grown as fast as I might have wanted to, because it's made me work harder. It's made me strive more for what I want. It's made me more focused, more certain of what I want. It's made me remind myself that I'm not a quitter. And that there is so much power in what you tell yourself. I can do it. I can do it. I will do it. And as a result of that, I've become a better person for the people around me. I can serve people better because I get it. I get it. And so given this, there's a lot more positive self-talk too. Like I said, I'm my own biggest cheerleader. I might have a rubbish day, no movement in the 3D, nothing. But I don't let it get me down for long. It just hurts me. I don't want that. And so I am the queen of being delusional now, and I love it. I'm in love with the process. You see, I lived years thinking about what if. Living in fear, never taking action, always being afraid of being bad. But you see, if you never start, how could you ever be good? Give yourself a chance, at least. How could I not fall in love with the journey? This is what I wanted the whole time. If you actually think about success as if it was perhaps a dish, if somebody just handed it to you, I'm not saying it wouldn't taste good, but it wouldn't taste as good as if you had gone and cooked it yourself, perhaps, and you knew what went into it. The love, the attention, the effort. You know how they say revenge is best served cold? Well, maybe there's something similar for success. It's best served when seasoned by self? Marinated? I don't know. Maybe you can comment something. But I know it's going to be worth it. And speaking of positivity and kind words, like I said, I have had many positive, kind comments from people all over the world that have honestly brought me to tears, and I cannot thank you guys enough for liking, for commenting, for supporting me, believing in me. You know, one of the scariest things is just taking that first step and betting on yourself, and to have other people see what you see, bet on you too. It's an amazing feeling. So thank you so much. I definitely savor the positive comments that come in. I screenshot them. I'm gonna actually make a positivity folder for myself, so whenever I feel down, I have a bunch of positive things, whether it be a message that my friend has sent me, or something that my parents have said, or something that you guys have said. I always want to remember the good. Another thing is that it's still helping me with my confidence. There is something funny about speaking with a camera, and because I've been doing it for years, and obviously not posting for the majority of the time, I've gotten very used to it. Obviously there's more to it when you're on the other side and you're editing and you realize how many times you can say and you know in one sentence. But in doing so, there's something very unfiltered about it, where you're not thinking about somebody else looking at you, how they're perceiving you necessarily. There's less thinking. And it kind of sets you free in a way. In seeing myself be set free, so to speak, I realized again who I was really. I could see who I was when I was less self-conscious, when I believed in myself, when I was in my power, when I was in my strength, when I was leaning into what made me happy and made me feel in flow. And so I now have a baseline for who I want to be and show up as in my day-to-day life as well. You see, I want congruence. I don't want to be one way online and another way IRL, because I know one day I'm going to meet some of you guys, and that would just be really weird if I was just super confident online and then quiet as a mouse IRL, and that might work for other people, but that's not who I want to be. And so it was more about seeing myself. Like, here I was doing the thing I always wanted to do, being who I always wanted to be. It's like I'd given myself permission in a way. And I said to myself, why am I stopping myself from taking up that space IRL? I don't have to do it just in front of a camera. I don't need to hide. It also helped me to value myself more because I'm leaning into, like I said, what I feel my strengths are. As a result of this, I feel more happiness. I feel in flow with myself. I feel more content with who I am, where I'm going. I feel far more rooted in myself. And it's that thing where, you know how I said I'm kind of like a failure on paper? You could strip so much away from me and I would still want to do this. Not to get dark and all sad or whatever, but I have never been able to see myself not doing this. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't fathom it. This makes sense to me. It's unconventional. It's quirky. It's not a normal job. I mean, now you could somewhat say it is because it's the 21st century, but normal, right? And it's the fact that I've given myself the opportunity to get in touch with who I actually am. How could I not be more grounded and rooted in myself? I've built back my relationship of self-trust with the challenges that I created for myself, you know, like in the summer and the autumn. And because I've been consistent since then. The good feeling of having your schedule. I literally have a schedule, guys, for like the next few months of what I want to film and when I want to upload it and all of that. And all of my videos are pre-filmed and I get them set out and they're ready to go up. I've got one coming out later today, or like at midnight, so tomorrow. But that, again, is such a pat on the back moment because not only am I in purpose and working hard, but I'm being really organized and timely about it. And that's not something that I saw in myself for quite some time. I've spoken about this in another video where it's about 3 reasons, I think I wrote 3 life-changing reasons as to why you may not be achieving what you want. One of the things is to do with winning in the micro to win in the macro. In succeeding and having these little wins, I guess you could say, it makes me feel like that bigger vision I have for myself and who I want to be, that Pinterest board girly, or that girl that I would imagine is the it girl with the confidence, that the version for me. She feels accessible. She feels real. I feel like her now. And not just because of this. There are other things. I can make a whole other video for you if you want. But I feel like she's accessible. And it's because of this. This was a catalyst for me. Again, I'm going to talk about that and something called what I like to call the portal of intent in another video at some point. But this acted as a catalyst for me becoming who I always wanted to be. It had a ripple effect on the rest of my life. I feel like I'm on the right track. And I couldn't have done it without that July version of me that decided to bet on herself. I became more aware of time and who I am and who I want to be. And looking back, it's so rewarding because you can really see how much you've grown. It just hits different. You see, when you don't record or you don't vlog or have a schedule necessarily, a schedule of your own outside of your job maybe, it's very easy to get caught up in other people's time that is assigned to you. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm not criticizing it, not anything like that whatsoever, because I know we all have our individual circumstances. But there is a beautiful gift that comes along with being a creator. You get to look back and see yourself, you get to witness yourself, you get to cringe at your old videos, but also experience that glorious feeling of being so proud of where you've been and how far you've come. And in all of this, if I'm perfectly honest, I've never really taken the time to look back to last year because the whole year was just incredibly challenging for me. But if I actually think about it, I am incredibly proud of myself. And nobody gets to take that away from me. Nobody can. You know, that's something that I have with myself. It's pretty cool. It also keeps me striving to do better and be better, as mentioned previously. Not only for me, but also for you, so I can bring you guys better and better every time I hit record. Things like becoming a better speaker and reading about the subjects I'm interested in, as previously mentioned. It also keeps me growing in my discomfort zone because I'm not naturally inclined to this form of creativity. So it's a good mental challenge. I'm alright at the chatting part, the whole editing, lighting, software, this, that, not my forte. And so because of that, I am constantly being challenged, and as a result of that, growing. And I'm very grateful for that. So my concluding thoughts, if you made it this far in the video, is that overall, so far, YouTube, since I started taking it more seriously and being consistent, has really been about building myself back up again. Getting myself from what I like to call 0 to 1. Building and healing that relationship that I have with myself, especially after the trauma and chaos of last year. If you guys have been subscribed for some time, you might also be aware of the video that I was referring to that I posted in December 2022. To put it simply, your girl was struggling with some very horrendous thoughts, if you get what I'm saying. And I'm just going to read out what I wrote. I feel a sense of responsibility to myself and to people to show all parties included, that you can survive your storms and experience joy in this lifetime too. We're not built to be depressed and miserable in life. We're built to thrive and grow and experience. And I want to be a living testament to that. Another strange, kind of quirky thing is that I also really just wanted to bet on the thing that doesn't make sense. I said to myself, let me see if I can be successful at the thing that my parents don't understand. Because I tried life their way, and I'm not saying that I wasn't at all happy or that I wasn't remotely successful, but I wasn't entirely fulfilled. I knew there was a whole side of myself that I was squashing that I needed to embrace in order to feel fully like me, fully in purpose, fully aligned with who I wanted to become. I said, let me do the thing that feels right to me. And of course, my happiness levels went through the roof, you guys. I can't even explain it. I felt blocked before. I really felt purposeless in my day-to-day life. I felt empty. And I remember once I was driving with my mom and we were chatting about my emotional state and why I'd go into these periods of just feeling so down, and nobody, no matter what anybody said, I couldn't really get out of it. Now, this is multifaceted, but one of the biggest reasons for that feeling, the feeling of feeling suicidal, and even if it wasn't that severe, just feeling so depressed and empty, it was because I felt like I had nothing really to wake up to. Computer fan's still going. I know. I know. When other people have made this video, that their experience with YouTube has probably not been so dramatic as mine. Which is probably good. You know, we don't need any more drama queens online. But it was one of those feelings where you have everything. You have parents that love you, you have a sibling that loves you, you have a home, you have safety. You survived the most challenging things, or you survived things, you know, and you have the world handed to you, and people that are fighting for you, and people that love you and like you, and you know, you're physically healthy, you've got all of these opportunities and so much potential, and yet it's like, it's not that it's not enough, but it's like something's missing. And I felt that for so long, and I tried to fill that void with other things, whether it was people or validation or just stimulation, running away. Me making the decision to do YouTube, although it might have been reckless and irresponsible in some ways in which I showed up, or I was just blabbering about God knows what, it was a way for me to feel alive again. Connected. Like I could serve, even if it was just 5 people that were watching. Knowing that I could make a difference. I was studying business at uni, and I'm not saying that you can't make a difference to people's lives with business. Evidently you can. Obviously you can. But I felt like I was delaying my purpose. I felt like I couldn't experience it in the day-to-day. And it felt so far away. YouTube brought purpose close to me. It brought it home. I wrote here that if I were to die soon, again, not to be dramatic, I would feel like I've done or I'm doing my bit, and I am so incredibly grateful for that. You see, there's more to life than the 3D, and I'm not saying the 3D doesn't count, but numbers and how many people follow you, at the end of the day, when you let that all fall away, are you happy with how and what you have contributed? That's all that matters. One key thing to not forget in all of this is you guys. It brought me you guys. I used to feel very alone in my struggles, either because I didn't have the support I needed or because I didn't communicate them due to feeling unsafe or insecure in person. Also with the addition of COVID, the multiple lockdowns, and the fact that I took 2 years out from university and lived at home during that time and didn't meet many new people, there was a lot of loneliness and feelings of being out of alignment. But I soon realized that your vibe truly does attract your tribe. I actually ended up making a friend with one of you guys. Funnily enough, one of my subscribers is now my friend, and it's just brilliant and exciting, and I'm so grateful for that. It was so bizarre, but so awesome at the same time. And so you really can't go too wrong in doing you and being authentic. I realize the power of community and how our experiences are really not so different. We aren't as alone as we think or feel. I am so grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch me. My mom actually said a quote to me in Hindi. I don't know it. I might need to get her to write it down phonetically so I can say it. I don't actually read Hindi, but it's something about how the ocean is made up of many, many droplets of water. And the ocean would not be the ocean without all of these droplets. So, thank you for being one of my droplets. And my mom's not the only one giving me encouragement. I think we gotta shout out my dad. He decided to stay at work an extra hour for me today to give me my space to film. I mean, crazy, right? He stayed at work for an extra hour for me to have the time, space, energy to be authentic with you. Because he knows I get self-conscious and uncomfortable when there are other people in the house, so shout out to him too. It has made me be so in touch with myself, with what I want to bring to people, the world. You know, I carry this with me. This is my life. You know, I do this here, and this is the energy that I want to take with me day to day as well. And I do, not perfectly all the time, but it's becoming me. This is me. And I probably don't make any sense, but I feel more myself than ever. This background, the blue light that you're seeing, like, this is just me pouring out of me. And it all started with one decision to bet on myself. So if there's anything that you take from this video today, I mean, I hope that there's a lot more that you can take given how long this video is, but bet on yourself. Someone out there needs your content, needs to hear what you have to say in the way that you say it. I probably cannot speak the way that you do. There are things that you know that I don't. I want to learn from you. Bet on yourself. You don't need to believe in yourself to start. Not fully. Not at all, even. Just give it a go. Give it a go. What's the worst that'll happen? You'll fail. So what? You showed up. You did the thing. If you guys want more pep talks, then definitely check out the rest of my channel. I think you'll find some stuff there. That's it for now. Again, thank you so much to Kamillah Rae for being the inspiration for this video, and to all the other creators who made this video before me. And for everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful that you're here. Yeah. Have a great day, night, evening, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video.